What do the Trinity, the flat earth, and the moon landing have in common? Stick around. How you doing, guys? Was in work the other day, Friday as a matter of fact, and one of my old neighbors had come into the store and mentioned that a very old friend of mine, a mutual friend, had passed away. Apparently he thought I had known it, but I didn't. That was the first I heard of it. He could tell by the look on my eyes that I had just found out. And it was one of these friends that makes an impact. I had been friends with her and her entire family for well over 30 years now. I had met her son way back in the early 90s, and over the years I got to know different members of the family. So it was very upsetting news. His daughter came into the store several weeks ago. She had just got back from Spain. She's teaching English over in Spain now. Funny, I remember the days when she was running around in diapers. Well, they've known me for many years, and I've known them, and like I said, they were always the type of friends that when you needed something, if you were in trouble or had a problem, they were always there. And these were the first people that were targeted when I was studying to become one of Jehovah's Witnesses. Matter of fact, my Bible stalker, he immediately put a bullseye on him because he figured it out pretty quickly because I was always over their house. And he was always on me. You got to preach to them. You got to preach to them. Well, I obviously opted not to. Thing is, these people were hardcore Baptists, and I was simply studying with Jehovah's Witnesses at the time. Now, we obviously knew we had differences, religious-wise, and we discussed them. The one thing we opted not to do was argue each other's points, because we both could come up with different scriptures that proved our point. Now, obviously, they're Baptists, so they believe in the Trinity. Jehovah's Witnesses do not. Now, in my opinion, neither party really knows 100% if there's such a thing as a Trinity or not. And it wasn't worth losing a friendship with these people to argue the point. Which brings me up to some other subjects. Now, there's been a lot of things of whether the moon landing had been staged or not, and the flat earth theory, which I've been hearing a lot about. Now, I'm not here try and prove one way or the other. Is the world flat or is it a globe? Was the moon landing staged or was it real? Personally, I don't know. I question the moon landing myself now, after seeing a lot of the information. The flat earth theory, I do not discount anything, because frankly, my honest answer when I'm asked about it, I have never been in orbit. I don't know. But I don't discount anything. I put this out there because I see so many people bickering back and forth, and I had posted something several days ago about the fire in Hawaii. Now, I don't post things too serious on Facebook very often, but on the rare occasion I do, there is always an XJW that will come out of the woodwork and shoot it down. They'll never make a point, they'll just attack it. And other than that, I never hear from them. And I had posted something on these wildfires. I firmly believe it was an energy beam, the same thing for the wildfires in Gatlinburg, in California, in Canada, and in Australia. I'm a firm believer in that. There's no coincidence. Well, when I posted this, yeah, there were a number of likes on it, but I noticed 2 laughing emojis by 2 XJWs. I would like to know what is so funny about thousands of people being burned alive. I opted not to argue it, but I knew who, from that point on, who I didn't want to have any dealings with in the future. Somebody did go after them. And I just realized just how ignorant these 2 XJW cocksuckers were. One of them I blocked as a friend, deleted him as a friend. The other one I don't know if I did or not, so I'm going to have to check on that. But these are 2 idiots. These are two numbskulls I do not want to have any future dealings with. And I'm finding myself not wanting to have any dealings with many ex-JWs for the same reason. Now, there is so much information out there. And right now, I am getting so non-combative because you're either awake or you're not. And in my opinion, if you're not awake now to what's going on, you're never going to be awake. Now, there's a lot of information out there. And people shouldn't be arguing whether the earth is flat, or whether it's a globe, or whether the moon landing was staged, or whether there's a Trinity in the Bible, or arguing anything. But the one thing people should be agreeing on, we're all being played by the establishment at the top. And this is something that nobody is really taken into consideration. The thing is, the establishment at the top loves to keep people at odds. Because while people are at odds, they're on the top playing their manipulative little games. And they're getting away with it. And the same thing applied to the C-19er a few years ago that dominated 2020. I opted not to get the jab, and I'm sure I'll have comments about that. But if people choose to get it, that's entirely on them. I choose not to, so don't attack me for not wanting to get the jab. But too many people bickering back and forth without focusing on the puppet players at the top. Why is this happening? Why are they covering it up? What are they covering up? I'd like to know the truth too. We all would. But we're not going to learn the truth by arguing amongst ourselves. Because the thing is, you can make your point, they're going to make their point. And the thing is, it never ends. And there are parties that are just never going to convince each other. You have to agree to disagree. Like these friends of mine that have been friends for many years. We didn't agree with each other's religions, but we opted not to argue the point because it would have been pointless. And what would have happened had I did argue with them over it, chances are I wouldn't be friends with them today. Because the thing is, as much as the JWs tried to get me to cut ties with these people, how many times they said they're not Jehovah's people, they're not good association. I disagree with that. They were very good association. They were always there. And the funny thing is, all these years later, Jehovah's Witnesses are nowhere to be found. They dropped me like a hot potato. And yet, these friends of mine, they're still there. I'll think twice, guys, before you argue the points. I never go into what I believe. Several months ago, there was a comment on my YouTube channel, and I can't remember what video it was, but I guess I made the comment, this vast universe, and somebody in the comment section jumped on it and said, you need to rethink your thinking, and started to go into the whole flat earth thing. Now, I don't like being jumped on about phrases I use. I don't like having people tell me what to believe because I don't tell you what to believe, and I never have and I never will. So don't ever come on my channel and tell me what to believe or what to think. I ignored the comment because it had nothing to do with the content of the video. But a lot of people would like to know what I think, where I stand religiously, because I've never let that out. Several years ago, when I used to do my videos in the dining room, there was a big-ass cross in the back, and people used to comment on it all the time. Now, it had been there since the previous owners had the house, and it's still there. I just left it. And I started wondering now, these people had no idea where I stood spiritually, and I never told anybody where I stood spiritually. There's a reason why I stopped using the Bible, for that reason. As a matter of fact, 2 weeks ago, somebody had commented on my video, what's with the 666? I didn't have a clue what they were talking about till I watched the video several times. Now, I have a habit of going like this. I do a lot of hand gestures when I speak. This has no significance to me. This has no spiritual or religious significance to me. It's simply a hand gesture like this, or whatever. Don't take it so personal. And this I had done about 4 years ago. I mentioned the cross. Several videos I started wearing a pentagram, just to see who would take notice. Somebody commented, whose side are you on? Well, I've never relayed any side, to be honest with you. Matter of fact, of all people, Bobby Ploss asked, is that satanic? I'm not being judgmental. Well, if he wasn't being judgmental, he wouldn't have asked. Anyways, guys, just think about that before you go to war with somebody. Like I said, there are some people that you're just never going to wake up. You don't have to prove your point. But as long as you agree that we're all being played, we're all being lied to, that's all you really have to know. Because the truth will come out. But just be careful about expending energy on something, especially if people aren't going to believe it. If they're not going to believe it, nothing you can say is going to change their mind. It's much like trying to wake up a Jehovah's Witness. They're just not seeing it. Anyways, guys, you all have a good day. I'll be talking to you soon.